Hi everyone, welcome back. This is going to be my Shop My Stash for eyeshadow palettes for June. I just shop my stash for eyeshadow palettes because the rest of my makeup I have handy on my vanity, but I have a larger collection of eyeshadow palettes. So yeah, I just shop my stash for eyeshadow palettes, and as usual I will have timestamps in the description box. I'm going to start off with the eyeshadow palettes that I ended up using in May and sharing the looks that I did with those palettes, and then taking you into my current shop my stash drawer and pull out some palettes that I want to put back into my collection. And then I'll be going through the rest of my eyeshadow palettes to pick out some palettes that I want to put in my shop my stash drawer for June. So yeah, I will have timestamps in the description box in case you want to skip around. But yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, then just keep on watching. So I only ended up using 8 eyeshadow palettes in May. I didn't wear makeup all that much in May, so yeah, I don't have a lot of palettes to go through. I'll go ahead and start with the eyeshadow palette that I used today. This is the Odin's Eye in collaboration with Batty Bean Planet Spirit palette, and I actually used this another time as well, another kind of pink look. I love pink eyeshadow. So yeah, today I'm wearing these 2 shades, a little bit of the purple and this shade, which kind of comes across as like an orangey pink on the lid, and then this shade in my inner corner. This is my favorite shade in the palette, if you can tell. So yeah, I used this a couple times. I also use the Odin's Eye. This is in collaboration with Angelica Nyqvist. This is the Hella palette. This is one of my favorite palettes. I believe I did a pink look from this as well. I don't remember, but I definitely like this part of the palette the most. I love this shade. This, I think it's River. Yeah, River. Just kind of like an iridescent purpley shade. It looks really pretty on the lids. So yeah, this was my favorite palette for a while, and it's still one like in my top 5, I think, favorite palettes. Also used the BH Mimosa palette. I do love this palette. I kind of find it to be a little bit redundant, and I wish there were some darker shades in the palette though. So that's kind of my gripe, is like I wish there were deeper shades, because you can really just only go mid-tone. Like these 2 are the darkest shades, which aren't very dark, so I still really like it though. I love the corally pinky tone eyeshadow looks. I think purple and pink are my favorite colors to wear, pretty sure. So I used some Star Wars palettes because Star Wars Day is in May 4th. So I of course used the Star Wars palette from ColourPop. I did a Get Ready With Me, which is the video right before this, which was uploaded on May 4th. So it's been a while since I filmed. I don't really like to go that long in between uploading. I try to upload at least once a week, but I've just been busy. So yeah, I didn't upload that much in May. But anyway, I do really like this palette. I like the Super Shock shadows in here, and it's a fun palette to use. The Mandalorian palette I used. This isn't my favorite kind of color scheme. It's, I don't know, kind of gray. I know you get this mustard shade here, which I do use a lot when I use this palette, but I don't know, this is just like isn't my favorite, but I used it and I have it for the packaging. If you're new here, I do collect eyeshadow palettes for packaging. So yeah, I have a lot of ColourPop palettes that are the IP collabs and stuff like that. So the Child palette I used, and I do like this one a lot more than the Mandalorian. I think these are supposed to pair well together. I may have used them together a couple times. I can see how they would pair well together, but I do like this one more. But I also used it with this palette. I used the shimmer shades from this palette for the look I did with the Child palette. This is the Sugar Drizzle Snowdrop Fairy palette. It's an all shimmer palette. So yeah, I do really like the quality of the shimmers. I might declutter it though. I have someone in mind that I want to give it to, but there's nothing, it's really great quality. I just don't really enjoy using all shimmer palettes. I like to use the shimmers that are in the palette that I'm using. So I don't really like all shimmer palettes or all matte palettes. I like a mix. So yeah, I have used this maybe like, it's been under 10 times, but all of them are really good quality. But I think I'm gonna be decluttering this in my next eyeshadow palette declutter. And I also used this palette with the Sigma Alice in Wonderland palette. And I wore this on May 4th, like actual Star Wars Day. Just because I felt like it went with the shirt I was wearing. Those are all of the eyeshadow palettes that I used in May. So now I will take you down to my current Shop My Stash drawer. Okay, so I'm gonna just take out the palettes that I want to put back. I'll go ahead and put the Snowdrop Fairy palette back from Sugar Drizzle. I brought all of my Star Wars palettes in because of Star Wars Day in May. I didn't end up using the C-3PO palette, but I think I'm going to keep it in because it is very like summery. So I'm going to keep this one in, but I'm going to put back these three, the Child, the Mandalorian, and the Darth Vader. Yeah, I'm going to put these three back. I think I will be putting the Alice in Wonder, well, actually I'll go ahead and keep this in. I always keep my Jackie Aina palette in. It's one of my favorite palettes, and it's a go-to when I want my makeup, when I want my eyeshadow to last all day, and I know I can always depend on this. The formula is easy for me to use, so I just love this palette, and I like to always have it handy. The Monster Party palette from Sugar Drizzle. This is one of my favorite palettes, and I've had it in for so long in my Shop My Stash. I'm gonna keep it in. I just love it. I didn't use it in May, but I just love it. I'm gonna keep my Heather Austin and Adept palette in. This is another one I like to always have because the shimmers are just so good. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this one in. The Nueva Vida palette. This is from Gourmand Girls in collaboration with Steph's Beauty Stash. This is a fun palette. I think it's perfect for summer, so keep this one in. I will keep the Planet Spirit palette in. One of my favorite palettes for summer, spring, summer. I love this palette, so I definitely want to keep it in for probably the rest of summer, like July, at least July. But yeah, June and July I'll keep this one in. And I will also keep my Natasha Denona Ayana palette in because it's just neutral, handy palette to have easy access to. I have these quads here because they fit nicely. This is the Viseart quad in, I can never pronounce it, Petite for Petit, I think, Fors Violetta. I'm sorry, I know I can't pronounce it, but I have this palette in here, and then these were declutters from Amy. I was going to pass these along, but I decided to keep some because a lot of people have talked about how good these quads are, and I do need some palettes for traveling. I think I have enough like quads and little palettes, so I think with these and the Ariana palette I'm covered for traveling. So yeah, I'm just keeping these here because they're easy and they fit really well here, so I'm just gonna keep those in. And the Mimosa palette, do I want to keep this in? I'll keep in my Mimosa palette. I need to use the Lost in Los Angeles palette more from DH. Yeah, I'll keep this in. This is one that's more of a companion palette because when I try to use this alone, I'd never really like the look I get, but these pastels are really good quality. I just don't use it a lot because I'm not really great with using palettes that are mostly companion palettes. But I'm gonna keep it in because hopefully I think to use it. I'll also keep in my Glamlight Chocolate Martini palette because it's another neutral palette that I really enjoy, and I like having some neutral options. I'll also keep in the Ace Beauté Paletopoli palette because it is a really fun palette and I think it's great for summer. So I'll keep this one in. The Muse palette is great all year round. This is from Cosmic Beauty. Yeah, I'll go ahead and keep this one in as well. I'll also keep, I think I'll put this one back, the Star Wars palette. But I think I'm going to keep the other ones in, like the Tiny Marvels palette. This is great for summer, or this isn't all year round palette, but it's one of my favorites, so I want to keep it in. And then this one I have only used a couple times, and so I want to use it more. This is ColourPop Beauty and the Beast palette, so I didn't use it in May, so I'm gonna keep it in. These are all of the palettes that I'll keep in for June. Now I'll pick out some more palettes to put in here. Okay, so this is my current eyeshadow palette storage bin. This is just what I have right now. It's definitely not going to be a long-term solution, although it kind of has been. But I do want to put these on shelves, but this is what I have right now. So anyway, I know I want to bring in the Nomad Paradise Islands palette because this is a perfect palette for summer. The Melt Rust palette is another great option for summer for more of like a bronzy look. I love this one. The Melt Vita palette, so fun. I'll bring this one in. I'm not sure like how much room I have. Something I've been meaning to do is I have this Ensley Rain Twisted Tea Party palette. This is just the packaging because they sold it. They sold the packaging. If you wanted to buy just the packaging, you could, because the regular palette was almost $90 and it was over $90 after shipping. So that was a lot for me. So I just bought the packaging because the shades are magnetic, and I tried to dupe the actual palette with shades that I had from like Simply Posh, and I had a palette that I depotted from Saint's Angel Centers, and so I kind of tried to dupe it, but the undertones, and I just don't really like using this palette because I just struggle to come up with looks, and I think it's just the undertones or something, it just feels kind of disjointed. So I think I'm going to redo this palette and just kind of come up with my own color scheme, because I still have the leftover shades in here from the palettes, and I think I'm just going to use these two palettes and kind of come up with my own color scheme for the Twisted Tea Party. And then I'll bring in the Strawberry Milkshake palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. This is a fun little palette, so I'll go ahead and bring this one in, and I think that's probably all that I have room for. Is it? Actually, I think I probably have one more room for like another 9-pan palette, the Sugar Drizzle Mojito palette. This one is so good. These shimmers are so good. They're very fragile. This one kind of exploded because I put my finger in too far, I guess, and kind of got into this yellow shade. But the quality is still really good, and I love this palette. So I think I'll bring that one in. I'll go ahead and bring in the Alice in Wonderland palette. This isn't like my favorite color scheme because there's only this shade to deepen it up, but it actually works pretty well to deepen it up. Like the looks still come together pretty well, so I do really like this palette. I love the shimmers in this palette, particularly this one that's kind of like a pressed glitter. Their new pressed glitter formula that is eye safe. I know it's kind of mixed feelings about this. Some people really don't like them. I am in the category of people that loves them. So anyway, I'll bring this one in, and I think that is all I'm going to bring in because I think that's all the room that I have. So I'll go ahead and put these palettes in my drawer. Hopefully they fit. Okay, it looks like they all fit, which is nice. So yeah, that is going to conclude this Shop My Stash for June. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!